Right now, you may feel unappreciated, you may feel like your kindness goes unnoticed, like your loyalty is taken for granted, like the love you give so freely is rarely returned with the same sincerity, and because of that, you sometimes wonder if being kind is even worth it anymore. You wonder if caring deeply only leads to disappointment, if loving sincerely only leads to heartbreak. But listen carefully. Jesus is saying, my child, do not let the wrong people convince you that your love has no value. Because the problem was never your heart, the problem was where you kept investing it. You poured kindness into people who were unable to appreciate it. You gave loyalty to people who never planned to stay loyal themselves. You offered understanding to people who rarely tried to understand you. And after a while, you began questioning your worth, questioning your value, questioning whether your heart was too much. Jesus says, my child, your love was never too much, it was simply given to the wrong places. Because somewhere, there are people praying for the very qualities you keep giving away freely, people praying for honesty, for loyalty, for kindness, for emotional maturity, for genuine care, and those are the very things you carry inside your heart. Jesus is saying, my child, never apologize for having a good heart. The world may reward selfishness temporarily, but genuine character always has value, kindness always has value, integrity always has value, and even if certain people overlook those qualities, that does not reduce their worth. Jesus says, my child, being unappreciated does not make you unvaluable. At this stage, I want you to stop chasing people who constantly overlook what you offer. Stop begging for recognition. Stop trying to convince people to appreciate what they are unwilling to see, because your energy is precious, your time is precious, your heart is precious, and not everyone deserves unlimited access to it. Jesus is saying, my child, protect your heart without hardening it. Because healing is not becoming cold, healing is becoming wise, learning who deserves access, learning who values your presence, learning who reciprocates your effort, and once you learn that, everything changes. You stop settling for emotional crumbs, you stop tolerating inconsistency, you stop confusing attention with love, and you begin expecting the respect that healthy relationships naturally provide. Jesus says, my child, the right people will not make you question your value. They will appreciate your effort, respect your boundaries, protect your feelings, and celebrate the qualities others failed to recognize. So do not become discouraged now, do not lose faith in love, do not stop being kind, just become wiser about where your kindness goes, because what you carry inside your heart is more valuable than you realize. Jesus is saying, my child, someone is praying for the same love you keep giving away. If you believe God is teaching you to value your heart and protect your peace, type Amen and continue walking forward with faith. Now, it is time to be honest with yourself, not about how much you love them, but about how they consistently treat you. Jesus is saying, my child, love is not measured only by what you give, it is also revealed by what you receive. One of the first signs is this: you are always the one making the effort, you start the conversations, you check on them first, you make the plans, you keep the connection alive, and if you stop trying, everything becomes silent, because the relationship survives through your energy alone. Jesus says, my child, healthy relationships require mutual effort. Another sign: you constantly feel confused. One day they seem interested, the next day they feel distant, one day they make promises, the next day their actions contradict those promises, and instead of feeling secure, you feel emotionally exhausted, because inconsistency creates confusion, not peace. Jesus is saying, my child, what is right for you should not constantly leave you guessing. Another sign: you keep making excuses for behavior that hurts your spirit. you ignore red flags, you lower your standards, you tolerate disrespect, all because you fear losing the connection, but while protecting the relationship, you begin neglecting yourself. Jesus says, "My child, never sacrifice your self-respect to keep someone close." Another sign, you feel emotionally drained after interacting with them, not encouraged, not supported, not appreciated, just exhausted, because your energy is constantly flowing outward, without being replenished, and over time, that imbalance affects your confidence, your peace, your emotional well-being. Jesus is saying, "My child, relationships should add peace to your life, not repeatedly steal it." At this stage, you may realize something painful: you were loving people who only appreciated what you could do for them, not who you truly are, and because your heart was genuine, you kept giving more, hoping things would improve, hoping they would finally see your value. But listen carefully, you cannot force appreciation, you cannot force loyalty, you cannot force emotional maturity. Jesus says, "My child, stop trying to earn love that should be given freely." Because the right people will not make you beg for consistency. They will not make you chase basic respect, they will not make you question your worth repeatedly. Instead, they will appreciate your presence, respect your effort, and value your heart naturally. Jesus is saying, "My child, recognize the difference between being loved and being used." Because once you understand that difference, you stop settling for less, you stop forcing unhealthy connections, and you begin creating space for healthier relationships to enter your life. Jesus says, "My child, your heart deserves reciprocity, not constant sacrifice." If you are ready to stop giving your love to the wrong people, type Amen and choose peace over emotional exhaustion. Now, you see the pattern more clearly, you recognize the imbalance, the one-sided effort, the emotional exhaustion that came from constantly trying harder, yet part of your heart still wants to hold on, because you invested time, energy, hope, and emotions. You keep thinking, maybe if I try a little more. Maybe if I explain myself better. Maybe if I love them harder. But listen carefully, Jesus is saying, "My child, stop trying to earn a place in the lives of people who keep showing you that you are not a priority." Because real connection does not require endless chasing, real care does not require constant convincing, real love does not require you to abandon yourself. Jesus says, "My child, what is meant for you will not need to be forced." The first step is acceptance. Accept what their actions have been showing you, not what their words promised, not what your hopes imagined, not what your heart wishes were true, but what their consistent behavior has revealed, because healing begins when you accept reality. Jesus is saying, "My child, clarity comes when you stop arguing with the truth." The second step is reclaiming your focus. For too long, your thoughts revolved around them, their attention, their responses, their approval, their choices, but now it is time to return that attention to yourself, your healing, your growth, your purpose, your peace. Jesus says, "My child, stop making someone else the center of a life I gave to you." The third step is creating boundaries, not to punish anyone, not to play games, not to seek revenge, but to protect your heart, because access to your energy should be earned through respect, not assumed through convenience. Jesus is saying, "My child, boundaries are not rejection. They are wisdom." At first, you may feel lonely, you may miss them, you may feel tempted to reach out again. That is normal. Healing often feels uncomfortable before it feels peaceful, but every time you choose self-respect over chasing, you grow stronger. Every time you choose peace over confusion, you heal a little more. Every time you stop running after unavailable people, you create space for healthier connections. Jesus says, "My child, every door you close to emotional exhaustion opens a door to emotional peace." One day, you will look back and realize something powerful. You were never asking for too much, you were simply asking the wrong people. The right people will appreciate your effort. Value your presence, respect your heart, and choose you consistently, without games, without confusion, without endless chasing. Jesus is saying, my child. Stop running after people who are walking away. Walk toward the future I am preparing for you. Because your worth does not decrease when someone fails to recognize it, and your value does not disappear because someone could not appreciate it, Jesus says, my child. Choose yourself enough to stop chasing what refuses to stay. If you are ready to stop chasing people who do not value you, type Amen and choose peace, healing, and self-respect today.